and welcome to We Are Fin. With me now I have Vince Howie from Aircraft Towing Systems. Vince, welcome to We Are Fin, first of all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me here today.
Well, very excited to have you here because you're going to give us some insight into a company which is very, very new, and you've had a leading role in getting to where you are now, Aircraft Towing Systems. Give me the background.
So it's a track channel system that goes underneath the taxiway to take aircraft from the runway to the gate and back to the runway without the use of their jet engines. I've been working on it now for about 6 years myself. We started in 2016 where we had an idea and we incorporated it in Oklahoma, formed an LLC there, and that same year we put Oklahoma State University on contract to do all the design development work. I kind of worked it part-time on the side. I was the Aerospace and Defense Director for the state of Oklahoma during that period. Fast forward 4 years, and it's time to work. Somebody had to work it full-time, so I left the state and became the CEO, and now I've been working it full-time for the past 2 years.
It sounds like a great innovation, and if an airport were to sign up for this once it becomes live, what's the benefit for the airport?
So if they put a full airport configuration in, one of the things that we do, so there's no more marshaling crews, there's no more tugs and tow bars, so you don't have to wait on that. So we tow aircraft at the same speed they taxi at today, so about 20 miles an hour. And so we had Oklahoma State University look at that and say, okay, what does that do to throughput in airports? Because if you look at what we're doing, we're automating a totally manual system right now. Typically when an aircraft comes in, it's passed off between 3 and 4 people before it ever gets to the gate. The pilot drives on his own about 80% of the time autonomously. So you take that along with the time savings and optimizing of the gates. They calculated that we could improve throughput in airports up to 30% as long as they're not constrained by runways without even adding a gate.
So a huge impact there for the airport owners.
Right.
The airlines themselves, they're using fuel during taxiing. There's a saving for them. How much fuel is being wasted, for want of a better word, in taxiing?
Yeah, so if you think about it, in the U.S. anyway, so 80% of the commercial fleets are made up of 737s or A320s. That aircraft burns about 9 gallons of fuel per minute. In the U.S., the average taxi time is 16 to 27 minutes. So we did a study at Frankfurt because we wanted to look at Europe, and it averages about 16 minutes taxi time there. So if you take that 9 gallons of fuel times 16 minutes, they have 500,000 movements a year at Frankfurt. You save about 280 million liters of fuel at one airport in 1 year at Frankfurt.
So for sustainability and heading towards net zero, this is something really that will help a lot of airlines get there a lot quicker.
Absolutely. So if you take that same example and look at that 280 liters of fuel that's not being burned and look at what's the emissions that aren't being produced at the same time. So it's roughly about 67 million kilograms of carbon and I believe it's 29 million kilograms of nitrous oxide that don't go into the atmosphere because you're not burning that fuel during taxi. Taxiing takes up about 5% of the total fuel in airlines when they fly their flights. And so when you shut those engines off, when you enter into our system, you shut the engines off. The other benefit is that we have positive control of the aircraft. So it's a much safer system. It eliminates a majority of collisions. The aircraft cannot deviate from our channel. There's not a person driving it, so we've taken the human error out of it.
And where are you on the timeline?
So right now we're in the prototype stage. So what I've got is at Ardmore Air Park, I've got a channel in the ground. It's powered up, it's ready to go. The tow dolly is actually the apparatus that is above the ground. It's ready to go. And if you think about the tow dolly, it's kind of like a giant lazy Susan with ramps on it. And the aircraft drives up on it, and it chocks the nose landing gear. So one size fits all, so it fits from an A380 down to an RJ. Right. The pull cart's in the ground, and that's comprised of an electric car motor that drives a hydraulic pump that drives 4 hydraulic motors, and those motors clamp on the monorail track in the bottom of that of the channel. I actually called my programmer back in the U.S. last night and talked with him and said, where are we at? And he thinks that we may have the programming, there's one little tiny glitch in it, solved today. Right. So it may power up. I'm waiting for the call today to say it's powered up. And so then we'll begin our testing and drop it in the channel and be able to start pulling aircraft around. I bought a 727 aircraft, so I've got my own test bird, and so we will begin to test 2 versions of our system, which is pushback at the gate and a point-to-point ferry system.
And what's the interest been from airports or airlines so far?
Yeah, it's been really great. We've got 4 different airports that are kind of lined up waiting. We recommend to the airports that they put in a pushback system at the gate to try it out first. And I've got an airport in Madrid, Spain. I've got one in Bahrain. I've got one in Baja, Mexico. And I've got several in the U.S. And specifically in Oklahoma that said, once it works, we want to enter negotiations with you on putting that pushback system in place.
Brilliant. Okay, Vince, fantastic insight, and I wish you and ATS a whole heap of success with this one.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time too.
Thanks, Vince. Okay, now for the latest of ATS and their progress and success story as it continues, and aerospace news in general, just head to wearefin.com.